Hello, hello, hello.
I don't know. They will start the intro right now.
Oh,
Yeah, you're talking right now.
That's great, John.
Hey, guys.
Good job
Join
being a
us.
fucking halfwit, John.
It's early. It's break.
I had to pull it over to get to that.
We're going to move into offensive tackle rankings today, and this is going to be a fun one today just because I know the two guys that are on my left have literally, how many hours of film have you guys
I've spent
About 6 hours of film. It's not offensive.
way more than that for me.
All right. I am more analytical.
Thanks for
So-
throwing me under
Really,
the bus.
6 hours?
You are more anal.
I thought you, man, no, I did at least probably 12
Two games.
16 hours.
2 games each.
Yeah, I watched
Good and bad, and
I
I
watched
put up the one I liked more.
too much of film on the. I don't want to say too much. I hope you guys don't think I'm halfwit for my takes because
No.
I don't give a shit. Because they're my takes.
Quarterbacks, I do a lot more film.
You know
on.
what?
You have to.
Yeah, well, yeah. We said this before. Every single company that does these has different rankings for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
like-
but
so
they're
like
similar.
PFF.
But they're similar
Sometimes,
a lot of the time.
like Draft Network has, like certain guys going in third, fourth rounds, and then like NFL Draft Buzz has this dude like
Second.
undrafted or.
Yeah. Or up high.
Yeah, or like PFF has these dudes, has Bryce Young as the one.
Yeah, there's a guy like on the line as left tackle, or I should say tackle, sorry, that's going to be drafted, in my opinion, and NFL Draft Buzz has him undrafted.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I like looking at some of these guys that
it all
aren't.
depends on what you see, how you evaluate this guy, and then you go from there.
Yeah, because a lot of people can look at these stars and be like, oh, yeah, and then watch film like this, what I like, this, what I like. And you can be right, but I like looking at some of these guys that people don't know much about. And you
Yeah,
can
you
just,
found that. I have not.
yeah, and you can watch some film or highlights even. The guy, I couldn't even find, like, super updated film on the one guy. And I watched from the last couple of years. I spent an hour just looking at this dude because I like him a lot. Like, everybody that I've seen have him undrafted.
Tackle?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's talk. Oh, it's okay. Okay.
All right, so
I'm excited to hear.
that being said, what we're going to do, we're going to jump in. We all probably have a different guy in our number one,
Yeah.
but we're probably similar
Yeah, except
in our top three.
I think my guy's the only guy that's a right tackle.
We're probably similar in our top three. So what we're going to do is jump onto the board right off the bat. The NFL and probably most people have Skoronski as their one. So let's talk about Peter Skoronski.
How can you be a one and then also not play tackle in the NFL?
Let's talk about Peter Skoronski, okay? 6'4", 315 pounds. He ran a 5'1", 40 at his, like, the college workouts that they do. 9 7/8 arm or hand size, which it's kind of small for a lineman. Also,
Small hands,
arm length,
short arms.
Span.
short arm span.
He's a guard.
He's a guard, guys.
I mean,
So-
That's why I can't have him as
But,
one.
he's
but
got
keep in mind, right? 4-star recruit coming out of high school,
Mm.
going to college, and he's not known essentially for his physical stature. He's known for his athleticism and his football IQ. That's what he's known for, and his hand work, his techniques underneath the pads.
I mean, he plays through the whistle. He's got
That's-
good feet. He doesn't stop moving them.
Right.
But his arm span's the issue because
But
I want a guy with a wide.
So maybe at a left tackle it's an issue, but is that an issue at a right tackle?
well, that's what you're gonna. I mean, I
I
have
know
him
you
going.
guys constantly say guard, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I
You
have
guys
him
not
mid-
going to play tackle.
I have him mid first.
the problem is, okay, so
Early second. He's an early second.
the guy is a first round to.
Late.
If I
early
had to
second.
put a pick, right, I'd say 25 to 35. So early second, late first, right? Like so that's my 10 pick.
I
window
have so
that
much
I have.
issue with ADP, so that's just.
That's
I'm
my
bad,
10, but
I'm
that's my
bad at
10 pick
ADP.
window that I have him. Now before I'll let you guys take your take on this, but before you say something about like the size of him,
I'm sorry.
is the speed of his feet make up for his ability, his physical stature, because he's very quick with his footwork.
No, because
Not in the NFL.
No.
Because that
So
next
you're
level.
saying everybody's faster. So he's probably not going to be
Yeah,
good against
because
speed rush, more of a bull rush.
He
kinda
got
guy.
beat a lot. He gets beat inside because he steps too wide.
see, now,
but
you
that's
know
where
what's
I
funny is
think he fits better at guard
All right,
because
so why don't
what I
Wheels
watched,
give your
yeah, yeah.
take and then go ahead, Steve, go after. So what do you got, Wheels? And
I mean-
do me a favor when you talk about him. Let me know your ranking on our ranking system, which we said you have dud, project, starter.
So I think he's a
dud, project, backup, starter, elite.
Yes.
He's a starter. I think he's a starter as a guard, but I don't see him as an anchor at a tackle because you want that guy that can he can eat a block and he's not going to get beat inside and turn into a turnstile. I mean, he's got great hands, good football IQ. He's good on the double team, but he oversteps. He oversteps against a bull rush, I guess I should say, and he gets too wide, and they beat him inside. My biggest thing is just his placement, because with Northwestern, you might be good at tackle, but NFL, that's the next level. You got a lot more speed, you got a lot more weight coming against you. So I mean, my biggest thing with him is I just don't like his size for a tackle, and he's third on my list.
All right.
And I mean,
that's why I said top three is probably going to be
starter.
Our top three are probably going to be similar.
Yeah.
They just might be in different positions, and it might also be based on team needs too, right? In the draft.
Yeah.
So like a team might not need a tackle over a guard, or they might need a left tackle over a right tackle. Like it all depends.
Yeah, or
some
depth.
guys, right? So it all depends on where these guys might go.
I can see the Titans maybe trading back into the first or trading back up into the second to get him with losing Taylor Lewan.
And
you might be able to trust him at a right tackle. Be like, all right, let's see if it works, because
we'll see.
I mean, you
we'll
can
see
see
with
if
that,
it sticks.
because
I'm just trying to give a team for example of who
Right.
could possibly take him.
So go ahead, Steve. What's your take on Peter?
So I don't, by all means, like, we don't necessarily hate these people, right?
I don't know him.
And I don't have any ill will against any of these
Yeah,
guys.
like when we're critical of them, it's of their game and what we've seen. So let's just, because I mean, obviously I use very harsh words when it comes to things, because that's what you do as a man. I like Peter, right? I have him as 5th in my tackle rankings, and I do that because, in my opinion, it's hard to put somebody as the best tackle when they do not fit a tackle build at the next level. And with the teams he's played against, I watched games against Nebraska and Maryland. All right. So my issue is he gives up a lot of ground in pass pro. He gives up a lot of ground. He gets pushed back a lot. Now, granted, he doesn't give up sacks, but he definitely allows the QB to feel pressure.
Yeah, but he's a much better run blocker.
I agree. I think he holds when he gets beat, just like most dudes do.
That's you're gonna
probably
teach
the most
out.
common thing that I've seen.
That's most guys.
He holds when beat.
Yeah.
Now I saw he was vulnerable going outside. I watched him get beat with a speed rush and a swim outside. I watched him get beat with a speed rush and a spin outside. I see what's funny is you said he doesn't get beat inside, or he gets beat inside. Yeah. I didn't think he got beat inside with what I saw.
I think.
That's why I think him at guard makes sense. He's not getting beat inside.
I guess I shouldn't say gets beat. He oversteps, I feel like.
And so they can
That's what I should say. He oversteps because he gets too wide.
Okay. Well,
like he's trying to make himself bigger, I guess.
Now, is it early in the set?
Yes.
Or is
so it's before.
Okay. So his initial.
It's on initial contact.
His initial kick is wide.
It's on initial contact. He steps wide, and that's where he gets pushed off. And I guess it wouldn't be more so getting beat inside. He just gets beat.
Now, with that being said, right, I have a lot of pros for him. A lot of pros. His feet are always moving. He picks up stunts really well. He keeps his hands inside. They're strong. I remember, like, if my actual note, if he gets his hands inside of you, your play's over. What do you like?
No,
your play's over. He is very good when he gets.
Yeah, he definitely has strong hands. He has good placement on initial contact.
Yeah, when he can engage head on, his hand placement is amazing. I just don't think he's gonna have the range or the speed in the NFL.
Yeah. So where do you have him ranked? Like I know you said
in your
fifth,
in your top, right?
So
he's 5th for me.
So is he starter, dud, backup?
He's a starter.
Okay.
I see. You know what's funny is because of his skill set, somebody probably is going to try him at right tackle, and he might do well.
And it also depends on where you're going.
I don't think he's going to be a left tackle.
If you're going to a place like
John, can you bring up Peter again real quick? Oh, sorry.
I was going to ask for the draft though. Order.
See, okay, so I only asked for that because the arm length. He's at 3%.
Yeah, he's a 3 percentile.
That's small, dude.
Yeah.
That's not. That's.
But you know what?
Going...
You were talking an inch. We're talking an inch.
That's what she said.
So, so in my opinion, then, right? If it's not a big issue, if an inch is it's semantics, why do they have analytics on it?
Well, here's the thing. So like, it's not about so much the inch; it's about what you can do with the inch.
Again, that's what she
that's
said.
what my wife tells me, and she cries every time.
So when you got a guy there are guys that play bigger or longer than they are.
True.
So like he's one of those guys that because of the athleticism that it kind of overshadows his inability with stature.
So there's another guy we're going to talk about. When I say attack at range, that means he's extended and he's in your shit before you have a chance to make him.
Right. He's good at he's good off the break.
And I don't have that note for Peter, so I would have to rewatch.
Can you
He's a starter for me.
Can you show me that draft
rankings.
order really quick? So like just out of curiosity,
where do you think he would go here?
So I said anywhere between 25 and 35. Now that's the position. That doesn't mean the team.
I agree.
But what I'm saying is that if you have a team that's an idiot offensive line, and like the Lions at 18 do need offensive line, and they got 2 picks in the draft.
Bengals.
So like
Bengals, Steelers, Lions,
Buccaneers.
Correct.
Yeah, Bucks are about to lose the whole team.
I see a tackle going is like the Detroit Lions.
Do you think the Bucks might trade off Wirfs for like capital?
I would.
I would too.
No.
So the position
No,
you're in now.
I say that
because Kyle
they got
Trask
so much
has only
money.
been there for 2 years.
Kyle Trask is not.
Yeah,
gonna
but
start
so
for that team.
you're gonna lose Mike
Yes,
Evans
they've
or
already came out and
Godwin
said they-
within the next year or two.
They drafted. What did they draft Kyle Trask in the 2nd round?
No, is it really? I thought he was a late round pick. Honestly.
No, they drafted him in the 2nd or 3rd round.
Oh Jesus.
So like, if you draft a guy that high,
Damn.
why would you move on from him?
I didn't know it was that high. If it was that high, then yeah, he's gonna get a shot.
I've talked to Ryan about Kyle Trask multiple times, and they're excited about Kyle Trask.
I like him.
So, and you played behind Tom Brady for 2 years.
I mean,
you got to learn something.
that's not true.
Every quarterback that's played behind Tom Brady has come out and been a very good game
He
manager.
was the last pick in the 2nd round.
Actually,
manager.
Hoyer was a good game manager. All right.
See, last pick in the 2nd round.
Yeah.
So they wasted a 2nd round pick on the guy. They're not just going to toss him to the
No,
wind.
I'm not saying that. But
No, he said he's not going to start.
I didn't.
I think he's going to start. But I mean,
But
Tristan Wirfs
held up on it.
has a lot of value. Do you trade him now, or do you wait to see how Kyle Trask does halfway through the
well, I'm
season?
not going to get rid of the dude's offensive line and then go good luck.
Well, you can accrue picks, obviously.
You can do that. Is
No.
pretty much what you
Essentially, they're
accrue
rebuilding.
picks.
If you do that, you're rebuilding, and you're saying Wirfs isn't the guy.
I mean, they're kind of going to be in a rebuild within the next year or two because they're
They
going to, like
are.
I said, they're
How do you
losing.
know that?
They're
Because
going to
their
lose
defense is gone. They're all
and they're
old, and
losing
they're
Mike
paying them
Evans
too
or
much.
Godwin next year.
Guys, the
They're not going
coach-
to be able to pay
They're
both.
probably going to lose Evans this year as a cap casualty.
The coach even came out and stated that you don't rebuild, you retool and
You can rename it anything you want.
No. That's incorrect because there are teams that don't have to eliminate everybody and can turn over. Look at the Eagles. 6 years ago, won a Super Bowl. Within 6 years, their team wasn't substantially worse, but they did lose pieces, and boom, right back at the
as
Super
long
Bowl.
as you can hit it on the draft, obviously, but a lot of these teams can't.
Tampa Bay's hit on the draft. Defensively,
Well, yeah,
offensively,
defensively,
the only thing
you've
they
hit with-
technically need is a quarterback.
Yeah, you've hit with Tristan Wirfs. You've hit with a safety. I can't
You
remember his
have
name.
running backs. You have wide receivers. You have defensive ends.
Lenny's
You've
old.
got linebackers.
Lenny's not old.
Lenny's old.
Lenny is old.
He's 26.
He's 28. But
28.
but here's the thing. You got Rashad White played very well when
Yes, he
Leonard
did.
was out.
Oh, that's
And
what I
he
was gonna
did
say.
say
and
at
then
the
you're gonna get-
beginning
and
of the
then-
year that he's going to pass the torch to Rashad White.
Yeah, like he's
I mean, you still
teaching
got-
Rashad. So
Because he knows he's
Would
going
so
down.
let me ask you this: would you trade Mike Evans?
Yeah, you have to move cap.
Mike Evans is the guy I would trade, and that's just because of his age.
They're over like 55
But the only
million.
And
way
he's
I'm
been
trading-
consistently good. So I mean, you
The
could
only
probably
way I'm
get something
trading
for
Mike
him.
Evans is if I can get a high 2
or a piece
or a
in the
late
linebacker.
first
I want
or
to.
another wide receiver.
Younger.
I need something. I need another wide receiver. I can't get rid of Mike Evans.
So, just real quick, what fitment do you have for Skoronski? Would he fit with the Buccaneers? Do you think they take him?
No, I don't think the Bucs are going to take an offensive lineman. I think if the Bucs do anything, it's a defensive secondary piece or an outside guy, or they're going to sit there in a situation to where
Peter,
can you bring the draft up again? real
Peter
quick?
could easily drop out of the first. I mean, everybody was hyping him up weeks ago, but
could.
I'm not saying I don't see it, but I don't see him being the number one tackle.
I don't see a. I don't
there's no
see
way.
now. Maybe I'm wrong, right? But I don't see a left tackle in this draft that is a day one must-have guy.
I don't. Unless a team really wants one and says we need to go get our guy, and they put all the eggs in that basket, and they're like, all right, he's our guy for the future.
All right, thanks, John.
That's-
so by day one, like must-have guy, you mean like dude you're willing to trade up for?
Yeah, like how many left tackles are like Jedrick Wills? And I know your feelings on Jedrick Wills, but Jedrick Wills was drafted top 10.
He was
Yes.
drafted 10. You want to hear my feelings?
I know your feelings. Shut up.
He's a
but that's not
turnstile.
my point though. So Jedrick Wills was one of
what are
those
you, my
guys
therapist?
that everybody was like, this could be a guy. Right,
Yes,
coming out of the draft.
I know.
So like, and mind you, he's a solid guy. He doesn't move well. He's not really good against the speed rush.
If I'm the Browns, I put him at right tackle this year.
I do too.
But you have to draft a left tackle.
No,
or you have to
Jack
pick a
Conklin.
guy.
You can put Conklin. I'd rather have Conklin at left tackle.
Why
He's
not
played
change
left
it?
tackle
But
in
that's
Tennessee.
not my point, though. That's not my point. Jedrick Wills was a guy that, but Jedrick Wills was a guy that like many teams were looking at as a left tackle, and they're like, this guy is a day one starter.
And do you think the Browns' arms were twisted because of the Joe Thomas retirement? You're like,
No.
we got to get a guy.
Yeah, you had to get a guy at least a
you had to
year
draft
before
a
Joe
dude.
Thomas was out,
So,
so
I
you
mean,
had to get him
Man,
play for a little bit.
I wanted Andrew Thomas that year. He went
so
to
did
the
I.
Giants.
I would have taken an injured Joe Thomas. I'll take
No, no.
Joe Thomas now.
No, Andrew
Andrew
Thomas.
Thomas, the kid coming out of Georgia that year.
Or Tristan Wirfs.
Oh, I would take.
Or Tristan
I would
Wirfs.
take Joe Thomas now as a linebacker.
But how about? But that's the other thing, right? Tristan
He's
Wirfs
big,
in
I
that
know.
draft was ranked by many as the number one tackle coming out.
Him, Becton.
Yeah,
that was-
Mekhi Becton.
Mekhi
Yep.
Becton. That was a big tackle.
But
draft.
okay, but do you see the difference, right? That draft was like these guys are top three. That was three. I think there was 4 tackles in that draft. But like, boom, those guys you had to go get in the first round, right? So I just throwing that out there. But let's move forward off Skoronski.
Got the receipts.
We're gonna go to the number 2 in what most people have mocked up as their number 2 guy as a tackle is Paris Johnson Jr.
Yes.
Paris Johnson Jr. is a big prospect. He's 6'6", 310 pounds. He's quick, 5.05 at the 40. Long, really long, 35 3/4 inch.
How long is he?
Is length, and arm span is 85 5/8. Big hands, 11 inches. This guy's just, he's a freak. He's a huge specimen.
And the Buckeyes guards were not good this year.
And 5-star recruit. Now, the positives of him, right, is leader on the field. He's quick off the step, strong base, and very agile. So, like, this is a guy that I think is probably your best left tackle in the draft.
So you have
Personally,
him as the anchor.
yes.
on the
I
team.
think you can take him. Oh, that's not my zipper. I was messing with the microphone. I think you can take him high, and even if you don't get him at a left tackle, he's a stud at right
but
tackle.
so this, I
Stud.
don't know if you guys saw this. He's only played 1 season at tackle for Ohio State.
Correct. Yeah, he
So,
started as a guard.
Yeah. So I mean, but you like a guy with movability. So I mean, hey, he might not stick at tackle, but you can put him as a guard.
Now, I don't know if you can take a guy from the left to the right side of the line because that's one of the biggest critiques
Yeah, because
they're not used to moving that way.
because usually you have a
footwork, yeah.
strong side and a weak side. That's
can-
why you're left or right.
You can
Correct.
coach that. You can coach that.
No, you can't.
You can coach footwork.
It's not about
Yeah,
footwork.
but
it's about
it's
it's
about
hardwired.
instinct.
It's
about
hardwired.
instincts.
Yeah, it's hardwired from the day
Ask
you
Joe
start
Thomas.
at
Ask
tackle.
Joe Thomas if he would ever be able to do right tackle.
I
I guarantee Joe Thomas goes, I'm capable of doing it,
But I'm not going to do it as
but
well.
I'm not going to be as good.
mean, that's expected.
But I mean, he's
But
he's
we're
left
talking a
heavy.
Hall of Famer, a first-round ballot Hall
Yeah.
of Famer, right? And
He
still
already
say
is.
he would still say he would
Pretty
struggle.
much.
Okay, it's just what it is.
So what are your pros on him? What do you like about him?
Well, look who he played against, right? That's a big factor.
Yeah, so
You're playing in the Big Ten. You play against a lot of good DNs.
Elite defenses. I mean, even against I watched him against Georgia in the champion or in the play, or I guess
And
not champion.
Georgia
the
has a
playoff.
good D tackles coming out
Yeah,
of that side.
that's the reason I did that. I did that game and the Notre Dame game, and he looked because in that Notre Dame game our offensive line was getting beat early. In the second half, he stepped up. He stepped up on that offensive line, and I think he's part of the reason, honestly, we won is because we were able to solidify it halfway through the game. He's got a high football IQ. He doesn't stop moving. I mean, he plays to the whistle. He gets the second level quick.
Yeah,
but honestly, my only
you got
cons
him.
on
I'm assuming you have him as a starter.
Oh, I have him like franchise.
Okay, so elite, right?
He's elite
Because
for
we
me.
have
He's
Okay.
elite for you.
Yes, he's elite
Okay,
because
so
I mean,
he's
even
the
with
guy
one
in this draft that you're like, gotta go get him.
Yeah,
If I need if I need a guy to put on my line, it's gonna be an anchor, like you said. Gotta go get Paris Johnson.
it's obviously we're probably all Ohio State fans here, but it's not even that. It's just
It might
from the
be that.
film I've watched, I've spent a good chunk of time because a lot of these guys, some of these Ohio State guys, I didn't watch a whole lot because I watched every game this year. But I watched, like I said, the Georgia and the Notre Dame game, and he stepped up in the Notre Dame game, and then he was just a monster in that Georgia game. He was eating double teams. I mean, he wasn't getting beat. He stood his ground. He didn't get a lot of holding calls. I mean, even throughout his career. at this year at tackle, but I mean he's my anchor. I mean it's 1A 1B for him.
I like that. Steve, what's your take on him?
He's my number 1 left tackle. He's my number 2 tackle. He picks up stunts well. What was we laughing at?
I'm from over here burping. I couldn't hold it back.
Thought you burping? Oh, jeez.
But go ahead. Continue.
He keeps the guy in front of him. All right, he's got good footwork. He doesn't quit. He's aggressive, but he can be too aggressive. At times he'll lower his head and he'll lunge. I mean, you know what I mean.
That's one of my cons. We were talking about that a couple weeks ago.
Beat bad. I mean, real bad with the 2-handed swim. He literally he lunged, and the dude just went bloop. And I mean, that was bad. I was like,
so, I mean,
but it was a one-off because I didn't see it again. I didn't see anything close to that.
It seems like he builds off. He's like, all right, that's my 1 beat. Let's get back on it.
He can lose to a speed rush. He's fast, but he's not super fast, which is whatever for 310 pounds, 6'6", dude.
He's a big boy.
He's big. He's biggin', and he's long. He's got that reach. 35 and 3/4 arm length. That's biggin'.
Yeah.
I mean, you got the wingspan.
What percentage is that? 95%.
95.
Yeah.
I mean, you're biggin'. I like the doesn't quit. You know, the footwork's gonna be good.
So with that putting his head down, do you think that's a tell like, oh boy, this isn't going well, or do you think it's just confidence?
That's
going into the initial contact.
I think it is. He's scared he lost
already. He's like, all right. So that's a tell that all right. But like you said, you didn't see it again.
No.
Which is also telling because then he's confident. All right, that's not going to happen again. We're going to play this and we're just going to finish.
A couple. I mean, he's not going to lose to a power rush.
No,
he's not going to get beat.
Speed rush. That's one of the things I said. He gets beat inside on speed rush often, but he can hold his ground.
But if he gets beat inside, that's not so much of a stress if you have a solid guard.
That's what I was gonna go back on. The guards for Ohio State weren't the greatest.
No, they were not. They were not.
So I mean, like I said, he was an anchor for that team. Which is why I have him being an anchor in the NFL. And I know that's a high ask in the NFL going from college to the NFL, but he has the ability. He has all the. I think he has the confidence. And he has the measurables for sure. I mean, we see that.
He uses his size and his length though too much at times. His hand placement. His hand placement is not always where it needs to be. Like when it comes, if we're gonna compare him to like Skoronski's hand placement, in my opinion, Johnson's lacking.
Yeah, but you can work on hand placement.
Well,
just like footwork.
I think that's coachable.
That should be coachable.
But I mean, he doesn't. There's a lot of these tackles that I've watched that they hold when they get beat. Like they know they're getting, so they hold. I didn't see that much with him.
Guys. So I could be wrong on this. When you go to the NFL, I was watching a lot of these guys. When you knock a guy down and you lay on him, is that not considered a hold?
No.
I mean, technically, it should be considered a hold.
It should be because you're
preventing him from moving.
They teach that at a young age, though. If you get your dude in the ground, you're allowed to jump on him.
Well, so
you're taking him
Johnson has the ability to constantly do that to a guy. He gets him. He beats him right off the line, and most of those guys flop out. I don't know if he's just playing bad guys. I mean, I kind of do. Most of them were not good.
I mean, Georgia, he went against what was it? Jalen Carter. No,
he didn't know. Whippler went against Carter.
Whippler went against Carter.
And that's why
big
fan of Whippler. Big fan.
But I mean, and it's not like we played Iowa this year. He won again. Van Ness. I should have watched that film.
I didn't watch that one either. Oh man, I watched Maryland and Michigan, and I watched Michigan because I wanted to see what was happening in that game because I got smoked on, and I was like, all right, how do you react?
That was bad offensive coaching in Michigan.
Well,
I'm not even gonna go there.
They got so Draft Network has him actually compared to Charles Cross, and I was huge on Charles Cross coming out of the draft last year.
He's Oklahoma or
I don't know. He went to Seattle, I thought. But he went to Seattle.
Okay.
So
I thought he was.
So what do you have him on? Like what are your?
He's my start. I have him as a starter in rankings.
It's so hard for me to take a guy and call him elite coming out of college.
And I have yet to do that in any of the talk we've done. So I mean, it's hard to come out and put my neck out there for the guy.
I think he's a starter. I think he's a starter. I don't think he's a backup. I think he's a starter.
I think he'll be a day one starter somewhere.
Yeah, this is a guy, and that's why I think
he's a top 10 pick for me. I think he's going to be the first tackle taken.
Early mid first.
Yes, I think he'll be the first tackle taken off the board. I don't know if he'll be a top 10 just because of the needs at 10. I think he's probably going to get drafted somewhere around top 15.
I have him going to the Titans in about every mock.
He could go to the Raiders for all I care.
at 7. I mean, he could, but
And the Titans could trade down.
Yeah, I
to
mean,
cure some picks to still get him, because if you look between
he
11,
could go to Philly at 10. Like,
11 to
he could go to Philly.
11 to 15, none of those teams really need offensive line.
no.
It's when you get into Washington, they need a little bit of help.
Well, Green
Steelers
Bay
definitely.
might need offensive line.
Yeah, they're not going to take a wide receiver. Sorry, Johnny.
They're not. You know what?
They're
It's funny.
known to not doing it.
We'll get into that later. And my Dalton Kincaid pick, I take back. I
he's
think,
not going to Green Bay anymore.
No, I take that back.
You know
Just
what's
because
funny?
I was
saw
looking at
another
second
mock,
round draft
and
picks.
it had him going.
Because he's a wide receiver, right?
Yeah, so he played. So we'll
But
talk
he's
about him.
aggressive.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk
We'll talk about it. We're gonna talk about it.
Let's jump off of Paris Johnson, because I think all of
Roderick.
us are fans of Paris Johnson. Now, this might be where I think we all kind of differ a little bit.
Yeah.
Me and you have Broderick Jones wheels, right?
Yeah, Broderick. I think it's Broderick Jones.
Is it Bro Derek?
Oh my God! If it's Bro Derek, I quit.
I've been.
Look at the
been saying
spelling. It looks like
Broderick.
Broderick.
Well, yeah,
Broderick.
but there's no apostrophe for that pause.
I gotta be
think
honest.
it's Broderick Jones, though. So this guy's 6'4",
I could see it.
310.
I don't know.
4.8 seconds, really quick. I don't have any of his arm length span or anything.
No,
don't
I
think
couldn't
he's-
find any of
I don't
that.
think he has any measurements yet.
No.
That will be something to look at the combine. Five-star prospect coming out of high school. My pros for him: very agile, quick to react. 0 sacks allowed in 2022 as a left tackle, high IQ, and crazy grip strength.
So I'm gonna go in real quick and do my cons for him. He lunges a lot, and he bends at the waist. He bends at the waist.
And he dips his head, dude.
Yeah, just like Paris. Which I mean, and he only
No.
But that's coachable.
He's worse.
Yeah, that's
he's
what I'm saying.
way
So
worse than Paris.
So this is where I have rankings. Obviously,
Because it
stuff
sounds like he's trying to beat the attack.
yeah, and he gets too early. He's trying to.
too
He
early.
overplays his hand.
Right, so it's almost like Trayvon Diggs as a corner.
He's anticipating.
Horrible on the double
Yes,
move.
Exactly, John. He anticipates the contact, and he shows it too early.
So if someone goes to break out and he
jumps.
pushes, and then boom, they're in. So
so
a guy
like-
like Myles Garrett, who's great on
So
stunts.
you think
Now,
he's
gonna
boomer
destroy
bust
him.
play on play?
So correct me if I'm wrong. When you watch tape on this guy, when he dips his head, he was still moving his feet.
Yeah.
So it's the goofiest shit I've ever seen.
That's the thing, so-
from a high end tackle,
Yeah, and he
is
gets-
you're like your head down, like moving your feet like a goof. It is.
Is he
it's-
afraid to get hit in the face, you think?
I don't think it's.
I think so because I have one. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
you're good.
He doesn't attack at range.
Anyone
he waits
have-
for guys to come into him, and I think that's why he dips his head.
Anyone have his stats on his arm length?
No.
He's-
we
he
couldn't
only
find
has
it.
22 starts in
yeah,
college.
there's nothing out there.
okay.
He only has 22 starts.
But yeah, it's
There's
just,
not many.
Go ahead, Steve.
That's two
Steve,
seasons.
But at
Steve,
left tackle
give
in
your
the
full
SEC,
take on him. Give your full take on
At
him.
left tackle in the SEC, that is still big because you're at a big time school, and in the last 2 years, George has been with the top 3.
Yeah.
So you're playing big dudes, you're in big games, so that it's not.
I mean, look at the talent that they have on the offensive line come out with in the recent years. We were talking to Andrew Thomas.
I mean, yeah, I liked Andrew Thomas big.
And a lot of people had him low. They didn't like Andrew Thomas,
See,
and I didn't understand why.
I
mean, I'm
I
kind
get
of
it.
there with
It's-
him.
That's where I'm.
I'm
with
not
him.
comparing him to Andrew Thomas because
Like,
I think
so-
Andrew Thomas is much more polished.
I think so, too.
I thought he was a lot more polished.
This
coming
guy,
out.
I give him a second round grading. He's number 7 for me in my tackles. He's good in space. I watched him pull from left tackle to right tackle side, and it was easy.
Now,
it was smooth like butter.
I
He
will-
looked good.
I like movability on the line.
I'll tell you right now, every person in this draft is good in the run game. In my mind.
Yeah, the passing game is where it's tough.
Yes.
I found a couple tackles I did not like.
He's 1A, 1B. So I mean, there's a sliver of a difference between
So
him
you
and
guys,
Johnson.
kind of have.
See, I don't like him near
Which I-
as much
which
as I
I
like
get.
Paris.
I mean,
you kind of have both
but
of you
it's-
guys have Skoronski below him.
Yes.
No,
Well,
no, he
no,
doesn't.
I
He
have
has
Skoronski
Skoronski
at
5,
But
yeah.
below Broderick. You have him below Broderick.
I
You're
do.
saying he's
He
lower
doesn't.
than Broderick.
He
I'm not
doesn't.
saying he's 4. He's lower than Broderick.
No, Broderick's at 7 for me. I have Skronski above Broderick.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I
Oh,
do.
you have Broderick that far down?
Yeah, I didn't care for him.
All right. I mean,
But it's
not gonna-
stuff like that.
yeah.
You know, if you lower your head, you can't do that in the pros. You're gonna get
Yeah,
you're gonna
but
get hurt.
this is what this is all
Yeah,
about.
or
We're
you're
all-
gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
And he doesn't attack at range.
But this is the reason we have this, is so we can all get different opinions, and the viewers obviously can see it. I mean,
agree.
we all. So each of us are gonna.
the Draft Network actually has Broderick above Peter Skoronski and Peter Skoronski at 3.
I know.
We all have different takes that we're gonna kind of just look at, and you more look at his
Fucking
cons.
cat, dude. Teriyaki's getting it. I'm sorry, I don't mean to. So I still think he can start. I just think he needs time.
So I like that.
So
Steve.
you have him being a developmental piece for it.
100%. I think this is a guy. So I think
is that a backup?
I think
Grady?
I think it's a backup grade. That's what I said.
Damn.
I think his physical stature puts him as a franchise guy eventually. So like starter.
So
eventually, but I think he's got to go to a place where he can develop a little bit. So maybe not as a left tackle. Maybe you start him as a guard and you slowly move him out
to where he gets more comfortable and see how his coaching
Tennessee's
does.
a good place for Broderick.
Yeah, but I'm not taking him at 11.
No.
I don't know. Not many of these guys are top 10 for me.
No, I think
I have two guys top 10.
Yeah, I think I have Broderick.
And they're both
second. I think
guys.
I have Broderick second round top 10 pick.
Whippler and Paris.
So
No.
for me,
Or the center.
Broderick is 32 to 42.
No,
that's where I have
the right
him going.
tackle.
Oh, the right
tackle is
tackle.
my one.
Broderick is 32 to 42. That's where I have him going.
Juan Jones.
He's
Top of the second round.
still talented. He still played highly talented guys, and he played well. But he still is lacking in spots. And I think maybe it's the Missouri. I watched Missouri and Auburn, both in 2022. I think what it was is he was afraid he was going to get beat. He afraid he was too slow, and that's why he leaned. He tried to get maximum length.
I watched the
Maybe,
LSU and
but he still looked
the,
goofy. Georgia?
Tennessee game.
Oh, Tennessee. Ooh. See, Tennessee was a good game to watch.
That's what I'm saying. So I try to take a game where they did it seems like they did really well and they kind of got beat.
Okay.
And it's hard to do that with Georgia because they played so well this year.
Yeah.
So there wasn't much of that. But early in the Tennessee,
Stetson Bennett's a stud.
All right, let's
he's only 45.
I like Broderick Jones, right? Like to me, like these three guys, if you take any of these three guys, I don't think they're a miss. I don't know now if you take them in a different spot, there might be a different grade because that's probably a reach, or you might actually win on that depending on where if you get a guy in the third round that's one of these guys, win all day.
Yeah, I agree.
Win all day.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead. What were you saying?
Who's your number one?
Out of these three guys, Paris Johnson, hands down.
Okay.
I think
Out of
Paris
these three, it's
Johnson.
Paris, yeah.
I think,
Like I said, it's a sliver of a difference.
Here's it's not a sliver of difference for me. And
don't
the
think
reason
so
why
either.
it's not
For
a
me,
sliver, the reason why it's not a sliver of a difference is I think you have to understand the school you're coming from too. If you're this good at Ohio State and I think he's a sophomore or a junior?
Paris Johnson is
a junior.
Shit, how do I not have
I think he's a junior.
He's 20. I know he's 21 right
And
now.
I'm not talking his last name. I'm talking he actually is a junior.
Yeah, he's a junior.
He's young coming out. And which means give him another year in the NFL with a good offensive line coach.
Teriyaki.
It's going to be a stud.
Yeah.
It's going to be a stud. So
I got that on Friday, by the way, too.
Teriyaki?
Uh-huh.
Did you really? That's funny.
So I just think that's why. And then Ohio State has a very good history of offensive linemen coming out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll
Well,
take the
Big
guy
Ten
out of
in general.
Ohio State all day.
Yeah, I mean, Big Ten and like he said, Big Ten in general. Iowa's known for like centers, and I mean, look at the guy
I
last
think
year.
Penn
He
State
was
also. Like there's some big offensive linemen that come out of these teams.
So you were making a point about you're going to take a guy from Ohio State
Over Georgia.
So
Yeah.
it
Really?
it
Yeah.
seems like funny
based on
enough.
school.
Yes.
Yeah, funny enough, it
it's-
seems like-
coaching has a lot to do with it, right? Because he's got a good foundation
Yeah.
coming from Ohio State. You can build on that. It's not always the fact that you don't play better guys. Sometimes the foundation of your coaching.
Is how you play on the coaching.
Why do high schools constantly have players come out and go to certain
Yeah, it's got to be.
colleges? It's a
gotta
lot of it
It's
has to do with
fitment.
the farming system.
I mean, well, it's got to be right.
If you don't have a good Pee Wee league, you don't have a good middle school league. If you don't have a good middle school league, you don't have a good high school league. It's
You're
the
not gonna get
farming
noticed.
system. That's why quarterbacks are always go to certain schools.
Yeah, they travel the country.
Texas.
So it's a shock when you see a guy like Mitch come out of Mentor and then he fails in the NFL, and you're like, well, he didn't have a good farming
So I
system.
was like, well, Hunt coming out of
Bears.
Willoughby.
He
I mean,
took the Bears
And Mentor
to the
has a good
playoffs,
league,
guys.
but it
11-3, no, 11-5, I think they were.
no, they were like 500.
No, they're not the year they were like they had 11 wins the year they went to the playoffs.
All right, so it was 11-5 then. But anyways, I'm just saying the farming. I think the farming system matters.
Oh,
I agree.
100%. I
I
mean,
agree.
it's
So-
cream of the crop.
But let's move on to number 4. I have Anton Harrison at 4. And this is just
Oh, we're going Anton Harris?
yeah,
Harrison.
we can't go off yours because I'm running the show.
No, I'm just looking at names. That's all.
No, man. Yeah, Anton Harris.
Harris.
Sorry, he was talking before the show, and apparently he forgot to add the last 2
It's another guy we don't really know his measurables.
So 6'5", 315. He ran a 5'4", 40 at I think his college, like
they do some college day where they just go out and
Like
do
a
some-
college pro day.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, something like that.
They didn't do any measurements on him. Another 4-star recruit coming out of high school. My pros to him, because I don't do cons for these guys. I actually want to look at pros more than I look at cons. Now, sometimes like I actually kind of appreciate that you look at cons, Steve, because
you have to.
that's where you grade him.
Yep.
I'm grading based on pros, so when me and you come together, I think that makes a good meld. So great quickness on the edge, natural power and leverage, top pass protector nationwide. So this is one of your best pass protectors in the league. Now, does this make him, and I'm going to ask you guys this, does this make him a solid left tackle because you're worried about the blind side when it comes to passing?
I think it makes him more draftable.
Okay.
I mean, and that's a broad statement. So I think it makes him more draftable because, like we said, there's not one of these guys that in our top 10 that isn't a bad pass blocker. It's more, run blocker. It's more pass blocking. Some of these guys, they're
Everybody
not
in this
super
draft
confident.
can run block.
Yeah,
because,
but
and I
not a
think
lot
that's
of them can
because
pass.
essentially it's a run blocking is an offensive attack.
Yeah.
You're attacking. You're not defending.
No.
And when you're pass blocking, it's pure defensive.
Yes.
So I know that sounds weird because
Yeah,
offensive
it's-
line's playing defensive,
Yeah.
but that's the position of an offensive lineman is to defend a quarterback. And I know Ryan watches this. He's probably going to harass me for just that explanation because it is a John Madden explanation.
Well, what do you see here?
And there he goes up there. Bam!
So, but
And Brett Favre.
and the receiver, you know what he does? Then he goes downfield. He tries to catch the ball. So that's a John Madden explanation, right? The offensive line.
He tries to use his hands.
So, and I think that's where he comes into play is that he is a phenomenal pass protector. So if you get a guy that is purely a pocket passer, Joe Burrow,
Ooh. See, okay.
and
So
you get a guy
so-
like this to protect him.
do you have anything?
Do you have
anything
him
that-
getting drafted by Cincy? Is that your little
Did you give a like? Where do you think?
26?
There's
like
no
an
way he
ADP?
goes in the first round.
I don't
I
think so.
think he's a second round guy, but can Cincy move up or move back? Maybe.
I think.
I
so.
think
he
He's
moves
gonna let
back. I
this
think they
dude
move up.
fall to him.
I would love to see him go to Cincy because I think that they could really solidify that line with,
I mean,
with a guy
6'5",
like this.
315. That's big.
I think that's why
It's average for a left tackle.
Cincy's going to rebuild their O-line a little bit in this draft, and I think this is a good time to do it because it's a heavy defensive draft, so they can build up and, all right, so we don't need – I mean, they're obviously going to need some defense with Von Bell. I think he's gone, but it's not a bad draft.
Oh, Jesse Bates might be gone too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a bad draft to all right, let's go out and get a couple of these guys that not a lot of people are too high on, but
Well,
we're in
Jesse
a good
Bates ain't gone if they're drafting. I love what you're saying. Right? No. So here's why I love what you're saying. Because if we just said that since he could drop out of the first and get a guy like this on the line,
That would be big for them.
that would be huge because you don't have to pay a first round player.
No.
So you're not paying
You
4 or
might
5
like
million
but
the
you might
first
trade
year.
back is what I'm saying.
I agree. If you
Where's-
trade back, you save money in
Yeah.
the second round. And now you got a guy for 4 years and you don't have to pay him and you can try to find a way to restructure a guy like Bates and keep your defense solid
So-
while fixing the offensive line.
The only thing with that I don't like is you lose the 5th-year option on him.
Yeah.
But do you need that if a guy's going to be a stud?
Yeah, but
you're in the mix for 4 years. Figure it out 4 years down the road.
Yeah, I get, but that 5th year can also help.
For an offensive lineman?
Well, depending on where your team's at, they have their Joe Burrow's going to want to get paid within. I think they're going to. Him and Higgins are going to get a contract this year.
Hopefully
so
you can get Joe Burrow.
you got to get
to a
cheaper
Patrick
somewhere.
Mahomes kind of
And
Joe
contract.
Burrow's gonna take the Tom Brady. He's gonna take the Tom Brady.
I hope he
route.
does. He
Joe
would be
Burrow
smart.
and
I've been
Patrick
saying
Mahomes are
that.
some of the smartest quarterbacks in the NFL, and they know I can get paid in other ways. And I think
Well,
Joe Burrow.
Patrick Mahomes not so much. He's making like $50 million a year.
Yeah, but he's only 160 over 10 mil guaranteed.
So a lot of it's all signing bonus. I didn't
A
realize that.
lot
Yeah.
of it. A
But
lot of it.
you got to remember, Travis Kelce is. I think this is this upcoming year is his last year for his contract. He's coming up on one.
But Travis Kelce,
But he'll take a
already
friendly,
Said,
yeah.
He already said he'd take a team friendly deal. So that was my only statement about the. We're talking Harrison, right? That was my only statement about Harrison was.
Where do you
that
have?
he's
You
a
said
solid
second round
pass
guy.
blocker.
Second round guy. Where do you have him? What's your ranking?
What's my ranking on him? Starter.
Starter, yeah.
Okay. I have him as a backup.
Okay,
Okay.
now explain yourself then. Go ahead.
So out of my guys, I have him at 8. I don't hate this guy, right? I didn't dislike his tape, but I mean, like every offensive lineman we're going to talk about, when he gets beat, he holds bad.
That is, I agree. There are some guys that coming out of this draft that their go-to is the hold.
So something I noticed a lot.
I'd rather get beaten.
Is his hand slip on initial contact a lot.
Yes.
So he's not strong.
So you know what I noticed? What that's funny is he lost a hand fight, and I watched this dude get tossed like a rag doll.
Yeah.
Against Kansas State. Against Kansas
I watched him against
State.
Nebraska.
I got Kansas State and TCU, right?
Kansas State had some good players. So.
His feet get heavy. I have a couple cons. He stops his feet and he doesn't move the defender. He gives up the outside. I have a side note that says it happens too much, meaning you were getting beat by TCU and Kansas State guys that aren't
Speed
even
rushers.
I mean, you're getting whooped.
I mean, the Big 12.
He struggles maintaining his blocks. He's patient when he pulls right. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
His pass pro is good. Usually he keeps the dude in front of him. That's solid. What are you talking about?
Turn your mic a little bit. No, not your
Where?
wheels.
Oh.
Just turn it. Because you're going off to the left side and you can't hear.
What I did I noted this because I really like this play. I said he was good in space. I said he pulled for a pitch left, and he just nuked a DB from Kansas State. He smoked this dude so hard it was like Nagasaki. He's aggressive, especially in run game. I mean, I like that. He chips effectively. He chipped and he got back on a stunt defender in passing game. That was impressive. So what that tells me is high football IQ. What are you doing?
You're good. Just keep talking.
I liked his. He had a good initial punch when he can connect at range. So what that tells me, because we don't have measurables on his arm length, so what that tells me is maybe he has shorter arms, or they need to coach him up and say, hey man, you got to punch at range and then, re-attack and try and maintain your blocks, because he did have.
Like I said, so his initial contact seems to be lacking.
Yes. I agree. I have him as I have him as a backup and a late second round guy. I just wanted to make sure we got that out.
Yeah, I mean.
So what'd you see?
So my cons, obviously, a lot of these left tackles bend at, or a lot of these. Sorry, I keep saying left tackle. A lot of these tackles bend at the waist.
I noticed. Yeah.
They don't seem to have a strong upper body frame.
Or is it that they don't trust themselves?
And confidence is
yes.
It's a
like Skoronski.
It's
confident.
Mean,
he was confident.
Yeah, but the thing with a lot of these guys is you can build up that confidence.
I agree.
Yeah,
with
confidence is all
coaching,
mental. You can build
reps,
up confidence. You can. I know. Obviously, we say a lot of stuff's coachable. That's 100% coachable. Confidence is coachable because
winning makes you confident too.
Yeah, but if say he goes to Cincy, you got Joe Burrow. You don't think Joe Burrow is gonna hype that kid up? Like, you got this, man. Come on, build off what you did. You got it. I mean, Joe Burrow loves the worst offensive lineman, so he's gonna make you feel confident.
Yeah, I mean, he talks up his own dudes that suck. So
I'm gonna say this.
You're gonna be good.
And like you said earlier, that's coming from the guy that stays in the pocket.
So I'm gonna say this. I was talking to Steve earlier this week.
Uh-oh.
So Patrick Mahomes.
Oh shit.
And Joe Burrow is the Peyton Manning and Tom Brady of this generation.
I've said this.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you if you did.
I made this on the show statement multiple times.
When was it? Was I on the show?
Yes.
Yeah,
Patrick Mahomes is Tom Brady. Joe Burrow is Peyton Manning, and I think both those guys will be better than both the historical guys.
But but it's just like you said. So obviously, both these guys are going to take team-friendly deals.
I agree.
Which is the smartest thing. Which I think that's what's going to win you Super Bowls. Team-friendly deals. I mean, look at Tom Brady. I mean, I know Tom Brady's the GOAT.
I don't know. So the problem is, what's a team-friendly deal anymore, right?
Not
when quarterbacks are making $45 million
but
for Daniel Jones. $50 million is literally the going rate for a quarterback right now.
So what's team friendly? Is 35 team friendly?
If 35 team friendly, I would go sign Derek Carr right now.
What's Deshaun Watson's contract?
$54.5 million.
Okay,
a year.
54,993. Pretty much 55 a year.
Oh, okay.
But technically it was only 45 a year.
I think
because of his signing bonus, it added $10 million on everything.
I think Joe Burrow doesn't ask for more than 50. I'll be honest.
I don't think so either.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is that a team-friendly deal, though?
Yeah.
That's literally a fifth of the freaking...
Yeah, but it's like that's how they structure it. If they get a lot of money up front,
No.
They backload it.
Yeah, but the problem is you can backload it, but you screw the team in the future because the way you do that is by taking the bonus and structuring it over the term of the deal.
So
that's why Patrick Mahomes' $400 million deal was so good because it was a 10-year deal. They took that $400 million, they took, I don't know, like 180 guaranteed or 160 guaranteed, and they split that up over 10 seasons.
What were you saying, Johnny?
I think that Derek Carr and Daniel Jones will ask for more money than Joe Burrow gets.
Yeah, so this is what. So obviously, I don't know if you guys watch the MLB or see any of their contracts. Their contracts are ridiculous. 10, 15.
MLB.
MLB.
Baseball.
That's what I think football is going to turn into. You're going to get these long deals.
No, quarterbacks might turn into that.
So but remember, a couple of years ago, there were some people talking about the quarterbacks need their own salary cap. Do you think that'll will ever be?
I think if you adjust, I think if you screw with the salary cap in the NFL, it ruins it.
It doesn't exist anyway.
You 100% can do super teams in the NFL if you get rid of a salary cap.
I don't think it. Yes. I don't think the salary cap matters.
Oh my God.
Anymore.
No, it does matter because you're not going to put a guy like Devontae Adams and Justin Jefferson on the same team.
Yeah, but in the Rams, you had Matt Stafford, you had Bobby Wagner, you had Aaron Donald, you had Jalen Ramsey,
But I win the
Cooper
Super Bowl.
Kupp.
I win the Super Bowl every year if I have Tom Brady throwing to Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, and I stuck a freaking Jonathan Taylor at running back who's not even paid yet. I appreciate the salary cap. Yes. I appreciate it. And technically, the MLB has a salary cap. They just pay a fee.
It's
an over the cap fee. Yeah. It's a luxury tax. Luxury tax.
Anyway, let's rein this back in.
Sorry. Yes.
But Anton Harrison, you guys, I grade him starter. You grade him as a backup.
He's a backup for me.
We all think that this guy could come in the NFL and make an impact.
But yeah, he is the best pass blocker in.
They had him as the best pass blocker in the nation. Most people.
There's one guy
I
phenomenal. Have who's good at both.
But let's move on. Let's go to DeJuan Jones out of Ohio State.
Yeah.
This is my fifth guy.
Steve liked him a lot.
Big boy. 6'8", 375 pounds, 5'4" seconds. I mean, super athletic. Massive in size and power.
That's what she said.
Wide base, effective in space, devastating in the run game. This guy is like top 100 percentile of all of his measurements. Arm length 36 5/8, arm span 89 1/2 inches,
375,
hands 11 3/8 inches, and he's a 5-star recruit coming out of 4-star recruit coming out of high school. So, Steve, you like him so much. Where do you have him on your rankings?
I love this guy.
Where does he play for you? And give me what you got.
I love this guy. He is my favorite tackle. He's my number one. He is
over Paris.
Over Paris.
He has him over.
He is number one. I think. I mean, his intangibles are, the best, literally. He's 21. He's effective with his arms. So he knows how to use and punch and attack at range. That in itself is big. That's really, really big. He keeps his guys in front of him. He picks up stunts well. And that's with a shitty guard next to him. So he's doing a whole bunch of this on his own, often. When he gets his hands inside, his defender's stuck. He doesn't quit. He's always looking for work. This dude's hungry. He checked off his defender, right? His defender broke out into coverage, and then he came back in and he helped his guards on the inside. To me, that says high football IQ. He's helping his guys. He's always hungry. He's aggressive. He's nasty in the run game. When he chips and he goes second level, he's a monster. So this dude, and he's got a good initial punch. I love this guy. He didn't get beat in the games I watched.
He had some hand slips and lunges, but other than that, he's
I think he does rely too much on his length and strength at times. He doesn't let the technique come in. Those are my cons.
Do you think that gets him into trouble early, or?
Like I said, he didn't get beat in the games I watched. Granted, it was Maryland and Michigan.
I did Notre Dame and the Georgia game again.
Okay.
So I could watch both those guys.
Those probably would have been better games to watch. I wanted to make sure I watched the Michigan game. I wanted to see how these guys reacted to get.
Yeah, like we said, we all like watching different film, but it brings better aspect to the show because we're all getting different views of how we like the guy or how we don't like the guy.
I think that if need be, because he is still so raw too.
I don't know if he's. What do you mean raw?
Like he didn't have a whole bunch of starts at right tackle.
No.
This was his first season.
But he's got great awareness.
He's got
no
fantastic
matter where
awareness.
he's
This was
at.
his second season at right tackle.
Yeah.
Was it?
Both our
Yeah.
tackles did not.
He gave up 0 sacks this year. Last year he gave up, I think, 2 or 3 sacks.
But that's
this
what
is
I'm
his
saying.
second year.
So
at right
for
tackle.
the offensive line for Ohio State, both our tackles did not play. They were not scouted to be tackles. These guys were scouted to be guards.
You can't have a 6'8" guard.
But he was scouted to be a guard coming out.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
They didn't have him at tackle, and this is only his second year. Or that might be Paris Johnson. I might be thinking of Paris Johnson.
No, he played left tackle his sophomore year, and then he went to right tackle his
Last year.
senior
maybe
year.
it must be
and then his second senior year.
the
he
red
played-
shirt.
Yeah,
Who's second senior year?
Jones. Oh no, he played. Yeah,
Both these guys are juniors, I thought.
no, he's a.
So I might be thinking of Paris Johnson.
He
bad.
is a. I want he's a second year senior.
He was they had the COVID year.
Yeah, he
Paris
did
Johnson's
play during
21.
the COVID year.
There you go. Both
Paris Johnson and Skoronski are the youngest coming out. I'm pretty sure.
because I know
Yeah.
both Jones and Johnson, right? DeJuan Jones and Paris Johnson are both 21.
So DeJuan Jones is 21.
Yeah. I have him.
2017. Okay, so 2019 was his first year.
Okay.
And he played 4 games. 2020 was
Yeah.
the COVID year. And I think that was the shortened season. He played 3 games. In 2021, he was a junior. 2022, he was a senior. So he was a first-year senior. But he started at left tackle in 2020 in those 3 games. Then he went over to right tackle in 2021, and then 2022.
Okay.
So I must
I
be
think-
thinking of Paris. That
Yeah. I have him as he's a top 10 talent for me. I have him ranked as elite. He's my only elite tackle.
Okay.
I do think he is athletic enough and he can do it and he has the intangibles
Paris Johnson's only played 3 years.
and the skill set. And the skill set enough to be able to be a spot starter at left if needed. He can switch. He's already done it. He did it in college for a minute. I really, really like this kid. To me, nobody's got him going in the first.
a lot, but
And I think he's a top 10 talent. I really,
So
really think.
this would be your sleeper pick then.
This is-
If he
yeah, you could call
So I'm assuming you have him as a first-round draft grade.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause he's your best
He's a
overall.
top 10 talent.
He's your best overall.
Yep.
So I think most people have him graded second day, so probably mid to late second to
Yeah,
early third.
Yeah. I think they're missing it, in my opinion.
I don't know if they're missing it. I think that there could be an issue because he is a team player. He's not a standout. And I think that's good for most offensive lines being a team player, right? Like you said, he pairs up well with his guards on the right side.
Yeah, he helps his guys.
But for a guy that went from left tackle to right tackle,
he made a good move. Like he
it's
was
good for him, but most people are looking for a left tackle in the first round, not a right tackle.
Yeah, but the fact that he did play left tackle.
Not good. But anyway, it was 3 games, so I can't really say much.
No, but like you said, you can always see how it throw it at the wall, see if it sticks.
But there says a lot, right? When a guy like DeJuan goes to right tackle and then Paris Johnson's at left tackle, like how do you pick the right tackle over the left tackle
Maybe
when
you
you're
draft
drafting?
both.
But I don't see that
I
happening.
don't know. I mean, I like his skill set better.
But do you
that's
understand
all.
what I'm saying, though?
Well, sure.
Right tackle is an easier spot.
Yeah,
It's an easier
because
position
it's not the
to play.
blind side.
Right. So that's left
Not your
tackle.
best.
right.
You're not going against the best end.
Right.
At right tackle.
That's not
So,
true. Sometimes
depending-
defenses flip that up. Like,
well,
I mean, Miles will
depending.
switch up too.
Yeah.
TJ Watt,
That's
TJ
when they
will
want
switch
the
up.
sack.
Well, that's when the defense calls for it, right? Because you switch up your guys and you go against what would presumably be the easier tackle.
Yeah.
But also, most of your rollouts are to the right side.
So do you think that makes so with you just saying you go against the easier tackle, you think that hurts Jones?
In the draft position, 100%.
Yeah.
Maybe
in draft position,
talent-wise,
right? Because
maybe
he's coming
talent-wise
out as
it's
a
different.
right, but I
That's what I'm
think
saying.
he's
So because you're going to scheme for that, is that a worry you guys have with him?
no.
I have a worry
Or-
with speed.
Okay.
I like.
I think his footwork is not as quick as Johnson. I think that's the difference. I think that's why Johnson was a left tackle and DeJuan was a right tackle. So I think that's the difference there. Where do you have him ranked, Wheels? You had him at 5?
I have him at 5.
All right, so me and you are tit for tat at this point. Darnell Wright is my 6th guy. Well, let me do a recap really quick. Top 5 guys, we have Peter Skoronski, Paris Johnson Jr., Broderick Jones, Anton Harrison, DeJuan Jones. 2 of these guys Steve has out of their top 5.
Yep.
Well, technically one's at 5, right?
Which
Yeah.
One was at 5, one was at 7.
Actually, Skronsky's 6. I lied.
Okay,
I
so
messed
he
up
has
my
2 of
rankings.
his guys out of his top 5. So let's go to 6. I have Darnell Wright at 6.
Darnell Wright, 6'4", 342 pounds, 5.3 second 40. He's mid on the size scale, arm length 34 and an eighth inch. That's dead, like 50 percentile. Arm span 82 and 3/8. Hands 8.5, small hands, but that doesn't matter when you're a left tackle if you can get under the pads.
No.
Especially if you have
grip
strong
strength.
hands, you're right. Exceptional run blocker, aggressive at the second level, and he's got a solid foundation. So Wheels, give me your take on
From the
Darnell.
games I watched against him with Alabama, he's really good against the bull rush. Not so much the speed rush, but I mean just the pure bull rush. He holds his ground. I think he's a good pass protector, which I mean there's not, like we said, there's not a lot of these guys that are good at both. His run blocking and him getting to second level, I think sometimes he can be a little too aggressive, and that gets him into trouble. I mean, so he's unbalanced, I guess I should say, between initial contact and getting to the second level. He's not polished. I don't want to say he's raw, but he's not.
So he
polished.
gets knocked off his line.
Yeah,
Essentially. So like if
Exactly.
he's going and his assignment's on the right side and he's trying to pull to the right,
yeah,
he gets knocked off that line sometimes, is what you're saying.
yes. And I mean, so on
Which
double,
means to me he plays smaller than he is.
yeah, but his hands, he's got tiny hands, but he's got good grip strength. Like from the initial contact, he gets in and under those pads, and he holds on for dear life. Like he's just, all right, let's go on a ride.
He holds on.
No. You're allowed to do that on the inside.
I'm
It's
messing
called
with
driving
you.
the bus.
I'm messing with you.
You know,
Driving
Yeah,
the
but
bus.
if
what
the
I'm
guy's trying to
saying.
spin, he can't do it.
Yes,
You
you
have to
can.
let him go. No, you have to let him go.
Nope. Not if you got him. If you have strong enough hands, he ain't spinning nowhere.
Well, correct. If you can hold him inside, yeah.
So I think where he's not the greatest in measurables, he makes up in just strength. He's a strong guy, and I don't think he shows it. I mean, he's mentally, I think
we'll see
he's-
that at the combine. That's something to look at the combine.
Mentally, I think he should be drafted higher than he is, or prospected higher than he is, because he has the time with Tennessee. I think he was a 5-star coming out, played in the SEC against good defenses.
5-star coming up.
Five-star coming out.
All right, so Steve, what do you have? him
Well,
at?
where do you have him drafted? Like, what's your ranking for him?
Second round to third round.
Yeah,
Wow.
second
round.
second round.
Okay. What's your ranking? Gonna back
Starter.
up starter.
I'm
Okay.
gonna stay starter. I like him.
I probably have him actually somewhere around 60.
Like I said, ADP is not my thing at all.
I have him probably 65 to 75.
Okay.
So that's early third.
Okay.
So I have a late first round grade on him, right? So this is me. I think he's a starter.
He's
I really
mid-second.
liked him. Huh?
He's mid-second.
I liked him. I liked him a lot. He's my number 3 tackle, actually.
Late first.
Where
So-
would you have him go then?
Well, here's my issue with
Where's he
Steve's
going?
ranking is he has 3 guys late first.
No. I have 2 guys early first.
You essentially have
Skronsky's
3. You have
late
3
first.
tackles, 4 tackles going in the first round.
They're talented.
All right.
They have talent, right?
All right, continue. Sorry.
My thing with Wright is watching the Bama game. You can say what you want, but it depends, in my opinion, how you value the skill set of Will Anderson. Because Will Anderson didn't do shit that game, and they were one for they were that's their
And
guys.
that's one of the games that I watched with Will Anderson that kind of made me second guess on him.
Really? Because I looked at him like, well, Will Anderson didn't do shit. So
That's what I'm saying. Will Anderson, I don't like.
yeah,
He's like
After
Ryan said,
watching
he's
this game-
he's a raw guy.
Yes.
And like I'll die on saying this, but name seems to be a lot coming out of college.
It really does.
And I think that's where he's gaining a lot of this momentum.
Well,
is his
name in school, his nickname was the Terminator.
Yeah.
And you go to Bama.
I mean,
then
a lot of these guys are like, "Oh, Bama, he's going to be a stud. Let's draft him."
Exactly.
And it's not
So
how
does
it
that-
always works out. I don't think it's going to.
So does that speak more to Wright, or does that speak against Will Anderson?
I think it's both ways. I think
Because
Darnell held his ground, and
I think so. Yeah.
I think that maybe he's being under graded and
Okay. Undervalued.
and
Yeah,
undervalued,
yeah.
and Will Anderson might be overvalued
I think
because
so.
of, again, how often do you think of the SEC and you think of, all right, Tennessee? No, you don't think of Tennessee. You think of Georgia. You think of Bama.
Yeah, I
I mean,
agree.
Shit, you think of LSU, Auburn before you think
Yep.
of Tennessee. Tennessee has just been
Well, it's been a decade or 2 since
Yeah,
Tennessee's
I mean-
been Tennessee.
Since Peyton Manning, since '98.
Yeah, I mean Tennessee. I like Tennessee. I've watched them, my brothers know I like Tennessee. That's
I'm a lifelong Vols
I
fan.
like Hendon Hooker. I mean, it's probably my second. I know you guys
Hendon
think,
Hooker's
and
my
you can't
two.
have a second. Tennessee's my second favorite college team.
I like
a
Tennessee
lot.
too. I do.
Alvin Kamara, I liked a lot coming out. I mean,
Yep.
Tennessee has produced some guys. It's not as much as these other SEC schools, but they hold their own. I
agree.
just think again, name helps you get drafted.
Okay. All right. So a couple of my cons, right, which I don't really like, but I think you can coach this up. I have he lacked aggression, right? He get flat-footed, which I did see. I'm like, I don't like that. That's not great.
I don't want
So
a
do you think
single
he-
offensive line that gets flat-footed.
Do you think he says that's heavy feet or
I think it was
a
like
tell that he's gonna get beat?
nervousness, and he was like, we're gonna anchor down. I didn't like that, but that can be coached out. And he allowed the defender, he allowed Anderson to get into his pads, which shows little punch, which I don't think he.
But he held his ground against.
But he held his
Anderson.
ground. That's why, like, watching that game and watching him go against this dude, I was like, "What the French toast are you
Yeah.
doing?"
So it goes back to what we were saying.
Which-
Is it more Anderson
was he
or is it
afraid?
more?
Was he fearful and he wanted to be sure of himself? He so lacking confidence.
Yeah, but I think you're gonna have
Because
this with
then
all these guys. They're all young. All these guys are younger. Their confidence is gonna be.
And you will see a lot of comps and comparisons to all these guys that might be similar because that's part of it, right?
Yeah.
Right off the bat, like these guys are here to be coached. They're here to be coached to go to the NFL.
Yeah.
Yep.
So confidence is a factor, especially. See, this is the hard part, right? Because being a defensive edge rusher, a lot of it's instinct and aggression. So like you
get
can
angry.
teach. There's a lot of teaching there, right? But it's instinct and aggression. And to be an offensive lineman, it's more technique and IQ.
You're a fast defensive tackle if you're on the edge.
So when you have a habit of getting beat at a young age, it will tear your aggression, tear your ability down a little bit, and
Your
that's where that
confidence.
confidence comes
Yeah.
in. So you got to go up against, and that's why I like when Ohio State plays some shitty teams because it's a build of confidence factor.
Yeah,
for these
it's
guys.
you know what's funny?
No one's getting past me. No one's getting past me. Then you get out there and you go up against a guy like Will Anderson. And you're like, bring it. No one's beat me all season.
Yeah.
Bring it. So now you're in Anderson's head. He's coming at you, and boom, he can't beat you.
Yep.
And he tries. You've actually. Your IQ is screwed up Anderson because now Anderson's, well, I'll beat him on a stomach.
They even sent a double team with
And he
Anderson,
didn't.
and he
Right.
didn't get beat off.
That's my point.
And that's what's crazy is because the fact that he can hold up Anderson and another guy
And yeah,
that was
and
great.
still
I
hold
saw
his
that. That was one of
ground
his highlights.
This-
is
this-
I saw it.
insane.
But all right, we're
This
on
is why-
Darnell. We're on Darnell.
yeah.
so.
This is why I liked Whippler because I watched his tape and I watched what he did against Jalen Carter, and I was like, Carter didn't do anything that game. I was like, these guys are sleeping on Luke Whippler.
Right, but so Darnell, what do you have him as?
Starter.
Do you have him as a starter?
I think he can be coached up a little bit. The hand size might be an actual big issue.
He's not catching the ball. What the hell do you care for hand size? As long as he's got strong grip strength, maybe guard.
Yeah, grip strength. He's got good grip
be a good
strength from what I watched.
But I
He'd
really
be a solid left guard,
I like what I saw from him.
especially in the run game.
I think he's going to be successful at the next level. Yeah, he's an animal in the run game. I like the pull. He pulls with ease. He's good. He's quick on his feet when moving, right? And I like play to the whistle. I mean,
All right.
he's a guy. I really like him for an. I mean, Brennan draft picks real quick.
Well, I will say
Late
a lot of these
first, I mean,
guys,
maybe
a
the
lot of these
Eagles.
guys in the top 10, I think what makes them a standout is that they play to the whistle.
Yep.
When you start getting out of the top 10, you can tell these guys take plays off.
Yep.
yeah,
And that's a huge issue as a tackle in general, right or left.
because it shows how much heart you have. Do you have
right.
the heart to just keep going at it even when you're
Speaking
tired?
of heart, I'm gonna go to my boy,
Who's your boy?
number 7, Cody Mauch. This kid
AKA
started as a
Trash
tight end at
McGillicuddy.
like 240 pounds. He now is a left tackle, and when you watch him as a left tackle, he pulls phenomenally.
He's 7 for you?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Well, he's 7 because there's so much above him.
Okay.
But this, to me, could be a sleeper. You could get a guy like this, and with the heart and tenacity of him, I think he plays well.
So
305 pounds, 6'6", 4'88", 40. Now, I don't know if that was taken at 240 pounds or if that was taken at 305 pounds, so I'm going to keep an eye on him at the combine. Arm length, 32 1/8, small arms. Arm span, 79 3/4, small arm span. Hands, below average for a lineman. To me, rarely beaten on to the outside, especially in the run. Productive left tackle, effective in space. That's why I like Mauch.
So for me, the reason why I have Mouch where he is, I have him as a 3rd round guy, is because nobody else likes Mouch. But to me, I have him as a high second. And if I were to draft Mouch, I have him as a high second grade. And that's because the heart of this kid and the ability, like, not many people will just go put on 70 pounds, 60 pounds to play football.
No, to change positions, change everything you've known coming out of high school, Pee-wee.
Well, I mean, a tight end and a left tackle can be similar. The only difference is
that's
size.
a lot of asks.
But if you're a phenomenal tight end and a good blocker, like, you're just a 6th lineman.
Yeah,
And guess where you're at?
I mean,
you're
probably,
on the outside of the line.
He probably wasn't an offensive threat for tight end, so they moved him to be a blocking.
I bet
blocker.
you the issue was his vert.
Yeah, and so we're going to talk about tight ends. I mean, that's the issue with some of these tight ends is they're not a vertical threat.
Correct. No, I meant his vert as in his high jump. Like, he probably just couldn't high point the ball. And because some people can only run, some people can jump, but some people can't run and jump.
All right, so you got him in the 3rd. Well, now, what's your ranking?
7. I have him as my 7th.
No, like in our rankings. Is he a starter? Is he a backup? Is he your?
I think he's a starter, and the reason why, and I know you can kill me all day for this take. The reason why I think he's a starter is because I think he's going to go on a team. He's going to be drafted as a backup, and he's going to produce day one and beat a person out of a position.
He looks like a Viking. He honestly does. He looks like a beast.
Maybe that's part of the reason I love him, man.
In the film I watched,
anybody that plays without front teeth,
and honestly, there's not a lot of bad I saw on him. So I mean, obviously his arm span's bad.
You want to know his bad?
He drops his head just like a lot of these tackles we're talking about.
His negative to me, he's too aggressive. Yeah. Would be my negative.
I think he would fit by a better guard though, because of his arm span.
Could be. He's very quick.
Yeah, but again, it's here nor there. I love movability. If I can play you left tackle, or hey, our guard gets hurt.
So Steve hates this guy.
I didn't say that.
Steve, Steve, give me your takes on him.
I don't love him. I mean, he's coming from a small school, which is starting to produce more and more dudes, though. So that's something.
North Dakota State.
I have him as a late 3rd pick. I think he's a project. Because of arm length, he's probably gonna be more suited at guard. And
it does suck in the NFL, right? You're playing with monsters, and when you're a monster yourself, you look small.
Yeah.
So like,
I mean, look at Jordan Davis. The dude's
Jordan Davis looks like a mountain.
Yeah.
Around a bunch of mountains.
Yeah.
So a couple cons, right? He stepped his feet at times when he was blocking, and it kills all the momentum he has. When he keeps his feet moving, he does very well. His hand placement overall needs worked on. If he keeps his hands inside, he'll typically, when we hear with these guys or we see with these guys, you keep your hands inside, you do well.
That's a negative for him because he does struggle with the fighting.
And I think if he pairs that with continuing plays and hand placement, he's going to do fine. I have him. He's good in space and screen plays. When he does use his hands, he's very effective. I said he uses his short arms the best he can.
I mean, you can't just go like break your arms and extend. I mean, you can.
No, but I mean,
it'd be probably worthless.
But he does what he can with what he has. He pulls decently. He's effective when he connects, when he pulls. I have an example here. Went second level on a run play, chip linebacker, and then turned and picked up a rushing safety. I remember that play. That was very impressive. That was very impressive.
He doesn't give up.
And
this is one of those
guys
well. Is so aggressive in the offensive line game. Like, he just doesn't give up. And that's what I love about this kid.
Now, my ranking, he's 11 for me.
Just out of your top 10.
Just out of my top 10.
Okay.
And he's a late 3rd pick. I have him as a backup.
All right. And Wheels, what do you got him at?
I'm as late 2nd.
So you and I are kind of in the same area.
But again, ADP is not my.
No, it's all right. I mean,
at all.
You'll learn that the more you do it because you'll see. To me, it's not. You got to keep in mind when you do ADP that who needs this position.
Yeah, and that's the hardest thing.
Right. So like you don't
know where they're going to go because we still have yet to have any cuts. We still have yet for free agency.
Well, you can have a guy like Steve's. Like he's got 5 guys probably in the first round, but. How many teams teams need a tackle in the first round? So like that's why people fall out when you go.
So he's your dark horse.
So yes, okay. I would say he's probably my dark horse in this pick.
Okay.
Do you have a dark horse, Steve?
Well, he does. I don't think we're there yet.
I mean, I guess my dark horse would have been Jones because I don't think he's in top 10s for any of you guys.
He's top 5.
So what are we at, 8 now?
DeJuan Jones, top 5.
DeJuan Jones is 5 or 5. He's top 5 for you.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think probably Blake Freeland's probably gonna be my dark horse.
That's literally the next one for me.
Oh, for real?
At 8. Blake Freeland, I have at 8. Can you show that up, Johnny, for me?
I'm looking for it.
Yeah, it's not alphabetical order. I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right, Blake Freeland, another big guy, 6'8", small weight for his height, 312, 5.03 seconds, 34-inch arm length, arm span, 82 and 5/8, hands, 10 inches. To me, 3-star recruit coming out of high school, natural strength and leverage, fluid mover in the pass protection, and great quickness. Steve, give me your takes on him. This is your guy.
I mean, he's a guy, right? I have him as a 2nd-round pick. I think people are sleeping on him. Now, I will say, I'm going to start with cons because I remember now. Now I see my notes. I'm like, oh, that was bad. He lost bad to a club and swim. I mean, it wasn't even close. Dude looked like he was on skates.
On the play action?
It was Baylor. I watched Baylor and Notre Dame. I'm pretty sure this was Baylor game. Dude smoked him. It looked bad.
Yeah, but people lose every now and then. It's about majority of the plays that you win.
I agree, right?
So, like,
you're
that's
going
my
to win
issue.
most of the time. That's why you get a starting job. However, when you do lose and it looks that bad, that's not great. I will say, so I have specifically, stamina was clearly a factor in the Baylor game. In the early 4th, he was quitting on plays and giving up hurries on his quarterback. That's a problem. So he had a false start during the Baylor game at a crucial moment in the 4th when the game was tied. So missing like that, that's big. It hurts, right? Now,
he's not the greatest pass blocker.
See, I did like his pass pro. I mean, overall, I like this pass pro.
Obviously, he can develop it more, is what I have.
Sure.
I mean, he's another guy that likes to lunge into a block.
And I didn't necessarily see that. I like it. I have he attacked at range. I have his hand placements good. He's inside as much as possible, which that's big. That's big, because if you can teach that, or if someone comes in already knowing that, and you got to teach other stuff, all right, that's fine. We can work on some sprints.
Yeah,
we can get that stam up.
Yeah, we can get you.
I mean,
get you to have a little bit more.
We can get
more
you,
in the tank.
We can boost that. He's an animal in the run game. He had a reach right, and went 2nd level to take out 2 defenders against Notre Dame. That's impressive. Notre Dame's not slouches, and they got some edge guys coming out. And now I did have a note. Stamina was much better against Notre Dame. It was a month later into the season too. So,
You think he just had to build it up from the off season?
I think so. Yeah, I think maybe he.
Do you think that's something that's going to be telling coming in the NFL that hey, you might not have the stamina? Or
I think coaches are going to see that and they're going to be like, "Listen, man,
you got to build this up. Get in the weight room.
Yeah,
go run some sprints.
You can't be."
Well, I mean, you can. That's one of the things a lot of guys do when they go to the NFL. They build mass.
Yeah.
I mean, they got the right drugs there.
He'll be an early preseason player, I think, throughout whoever drafts him. He'll be playing every preseason game.
I think he should.
For sure.
Steve, or not Steve.
So now I have him as a late 2nd, and I have him graded as a backup.
Wheels, where do you have him at?
I have him early 3rd.
Right. That's probably.
And he's probably. I mean,
he's number 5.
Yeah,
for me
he's
too.
fringe starter backup.
He's your 5.
He's my 5.
Yeah, he's on the fringe as starter backup. He's just because where I have him drafted in ADP, he's right. Depending, I think he can overtake a guy on the right team.
Okay.
But I don't know if he has enough coming out of college to be like, all right, he's going to be our guy.
Yeah, that's why I have him as backup.
So
I agree.
It's hard. I think he's right there. I mean, I think it's a straw between the two.
All right, so let's move on to the next one. I like Blake. I have him at 8. To me, backup. I don't think he's ready to start.
Do you know where do you think he's getting drafted?
Me? Late 3rd.
Okay.
Mid to late 3rd.
Okay.
I don't think he's in a situation where he's ready to start yet. But he does have the athleticism for his size, which is great. But if you add weight, you're going to slow down, and his footwork's going to get a little worse.
And he's not going to have as much stamina.
So,
that's true.
Now let's move on to I have at 9 Matthew Bergeron.
Is it Bergeron or is it Bergeron?
It's probably Bergeron.
Bergeron.
Oh, it is Bergeron. It is You're right. It is Bergeron.
Kid out of Syracuse?
6, yeah.
You have him at 9?
6, yeah. Height
Same.
6'5", weight 323, 40 yard 5.3, arm length 33 and 5/8, arm span 82 and 3/8, hands 9.5. Here's my player summary. This guy was a 3-star recruit coming out
of high school, high IQ, adaptive to stunts, powerful and stable base, can get to the second level easy. All right, Steve. Well, I'll give you mine really quick. Like I said, I have him at 9. This is a day 3 guy. He's probably going to be in the 4th or 5th round. And this is just because the team needs. I think he has the ability to be a 3rd round draft pick, but he's probably going to be in the 4th or 5th round. He has a habit of over pursuing. This is one of those guys that can over pursue, but he's also so good in the run game, and that's because of his pursuit. Yeah. So you got to keep that in mind. Steve, where do you have him? And I also have him as a project.
Yeah, so that's where I would put him at.
Yeah, as a project.
Yeah. Steve, what do you have him as?
See, I like. He's my number 9, right? He's my number 9 tackle also. He's junior's 22. I liked him at points, right? So
Peaks and valleys.
So I watched Clemson and Notre Dame, which means I got to watch Miles Murphy work this dude, and he did. Yeah. Miles Murphy straight smoked this kid, often. So he lacks a lot of football IQ, right? So I got a note committing to helping tight end outside instead of his guard inside on a pass set, and it cost him a sack. So you missed a rush. That's bad.
You can't do that. I mean,
miss.
That's going to lose you draft position.
And there was another play. He left his tight end to take on Miles Murphy alone, and you can't do that. He was smoking you. He's gonna rock your tight end. He gave up a sack, but it was QB. QB held the ball too long.
So he leaves his assignment a lot, or he gives up.
He makes the poor choice, and he did that in one game.
Yeah. Do you think you can coach that out of him, or do you think that's
if you're like,
hardwired
hey,
in?
asshole, if this is the set, you have to take that split second.
That's
see
who
who's
you're
coming,
taking.
and you have to go. You can't just say, all right.
Did you see? So in that Clemson game, he sets really high, from what I saw.
Yeah, he was high. He was high in his movements. He didn't stay low. He didn't keep a solid base.
No.
Now I will say he does engage early though, and he does attack at range. That's big. If you can,
and he can get to that second level.
But that can also be a negative at the same time.
Well,
do you think that it is more he's too aggressive?
It's a negative at the pass.
Okay.
When you attack early.
Yes.
You don't want him to come into. I don't care what anybody says. You do not want to let some dude come into your.
You want to
body.
reach, but you don't want to lunge.
I agree.
So it's negative in the past because he does both.
I mean,
that's why
I think Miles Murphy is that dude. Personally, I think Miles Murphy is actually that guy. I think he's the Will Anderson everybody wants him to be.
He's my number 2, bud.
Will Anderson,
like defensively.
Hey. Offensive tackles.
I'm just saying.
Going back to the D tackle. I know you love the D tackle.
No. That's not it. This is the game. This was a guy I was watching.
Yeah. We both had the Syracuse Clemson game.
I will say though, when he got his hands inside of Miles Murphy, he stopped his rush cold. He stopped him. If he can work on consistent hand placement, he's got a good future.
All right.
Which you can coach.
So
a lot of these guys are
that's a positive for
coachable,
you as hand placement.
That's big. So, that's huge. Now I will say, so like chipping and going second level, it looked natural for him.
Because he's an aggressor. Like he's really aggressive at the punch.
Reach runs are positive.
Did you say reach arounds?
No, reach runs.
I heard.
I swear to God, I thought I heard reach arounds.
Now I watched him pick up a late blitz. Well, I mean he held his own against Isaiah Foskey from Notre Dame for the most part. That's big. He's going to be Foskey's going to be a solid pick. When he got his hands inside of Foskey, he owned him. So I think that's going to be a big sticking point coaching-wise moving forward. Right. I have him as a late 3rd. He's a backup for me because I think there's still things he needs to work on.
That's funny.
But if he does, I think he's going to be very well.
It's funny, both of you and I have him as a backup.
He's a mid to late 3rd for me
as
well.
You have so many more positives.
He's got good awareness against the blitz, though. He can read that blitz.
Yeah, I picked up blitz.
Yeah.
That's the IQ. And he's really good against stunts, too. So, that's why.
That's why it drove me crazy seeing that he missed a couple of easy assignments.
You know what?
But that's hand placement and just knowledgeability.
It's also the NCAA.
Yeah.
Again,
Syracuse ain't going to have the greatest head coaches
when
there.
When you come off the field, coach goes, did you see what you did wrong? Did he do it again? That's the question. Does he get beat by the same thing again?
Is he vulnerable to it? Does it happen day in and day out, game in, game, week in, week?
Like we said, I think earlier we were talking about, Broderick. He got beat on the inside. Is that because of the double stunt every single time?
No, it's because I think he gets too aggressive.
Right.
And he fixes it later on. He builds off that.
Well, if he fixes it, then
back.
it's not an issue as much as it is an issue.
But that's just one of... So with Cons, I don't I don't like to harp on Connors. I'm not one of those guys. But if there's some telling things that you're like, hey, this may not work out at certain where I can see, hey, he gets beat here, but it's not happen consistently. If it happens consistently, I put in happens too much. I don't like it, or it's too often he does this, or too often this happens.
All right, I've got 3 guys here. I'm gonna try to wrap.
You got 3 guys at 10?
I'm gonna use these 3 guys. Yeah, these 3 guys are probably right around the bottom 10, like my fringe players. Like I always like to call them. So I got Zion Nelson, Jalen Duncan, and Ryan Hayes. If I had to rank these 3 personally, I think Jalen Duncan is my top of these 3. Jalen Duncan is 6'6", 298. He's kind of small for his size. 5.25 40, 33 and a half arm length, arm span 80 and 5/8, and then hands 9 and 3/8. 4-star recruit coming out of high school. He stays very balanced. Knows how to push attackers back, great in the pass protection, and can also push to the second level. This guy has a little bit of growth that he needs to do, I think, going to the NFL. And he also can be a backup. This is a guy that's 4th, 5th round kind of guy, so day 3. Can you do me another favor, Johnny? I'm gonna swing this to them in a second. Zion Nelson was another one of these guys, 6'5", 315 pounds, 5-second 40. 35-inch arm length, arm span 84 inches, hands 10 and 7/8. It's another big freak prospect.
He's a project. I mean, he can definitely build up to something.
Right. 3-star coming out of high school. Strong against speed rush, long arms, agile, better football IQ than most. So this guy is one of those guys that I think is coachable. He could go above Jalen Duncan. I just like Jalen Duncan's pursuit a little bit better. And then the third guy I have is Ryan Hayes. Ryan Hayes is...
Kid out of Michigan?
Yes. Got
6'7", 305.
6'7", 305. He runs under a 5-second 40. Arm length 32 and 3/4. Arm span 79 and a half. Hands 10 inches. 4-star recruit, went to Michigan. Strong base, long reach, athletic pass protector. Plays to the whistle most of the time. He does have times where he doesn't continue the game. Great football instinct and capable of sealing the edge. All 3 of these guys are very similar in ability. Some are faster than others. So every single one of these guys to me are a day 3 guy. You're looking at 4th, 5th round. And I think
4th, 5th?
Yeah. I think they are projects. So I have all these guys kind of at my 10th spot. Steve, what do you have them at? And you can go ahead and break them apart.
I have Hayes at 12. I got Duncan at 16, and I got Nelson at 14. These guys, I did not like any
Nelson's
of them.
at 13.
I didn't like Duncan at all. I thought he was dog shit. I watched him against Northwestern. And Ohio State.
So I gave you positives on all these guys. Why don't you give me your negatives, Steve? On Zion Nelson, give me your negatives.
All right, let me go to Nelson. And I'm a big Miami fan. All right, huge Games fan. Love them. I watched UNC and Pittsburgh 2021 because 2022 tape was minimal. He hopped inside instead during the pass pro set. It didn't seem natural for him, right? His hand placement is awful. He was going second level and he was outside on a linebacker. That just tells me either you're unconfident, you're not confident. You have the size, he has the intangibles, but it's either you're not confident or you thought you were going to lose and you just immediately went for the hold, right? I have a note. His left leg kick turns out into more of a crippled, stanky leg, which
That's funny.
he gives up a lot of ground in pass pro. If he kept his hands inside and kept his base low, he would win his one-on-ones. He leaves something to be desired in the run game. I have a note during the North Carolina game. He didn't look comfortable in the run game. He gets nervous and holds. His footwork needs improvement. Bad habit of not moving his feet. Again, from North Carolina. He had a bad beat. He lost a hand fight and was thrown down by a defender, North Carolina. He doesn't maintain his block ever in pass pro.
So he gets too aggressive and lets off, or he just doesn't have good placement.
He never actually gains. He's just punching.
He's trying to punch. He's small.
He never actually.
Yeah.
He's small for his size.
You mean he plays small to his size? Okay.
He plays small for his size.
So that is a big con in my eyes. But that's why he's good against the speed rush.
He lacks aggression, not that he's too aggressive. I have overall his hand fighting's above average. But he needs
Jimmy.
What's that?
Does he have fun?
He does not, because he gets his ass stomped. He does pull well, but I mean, as a left tackle, that's not what you want.
All right, so what do you have on Jalen? Because you said that was Jalen.
No, that was Zion.
Oh yeah, what do you have on Jalen?
So for Jalen, he's got short arms, poor overall hand placement. Coaching can change that. I do think coaching can change that, because once you realize that if you get your hands inside, if you're able to do it, you're gonna be successful. He lacks overall aggression. When he plays, when the play gets away from him, he stops. He gives up. I didn't like that at all. That's bad. That's bad to me.
He did have a lot of plays where it kind of reminds me of Jedrick. He just had a lot of plays that he gave up.
Yeah, it left a bad taste in my
Doesn't
mouth.
play through.
Yeah.
He gives up a lot of ground and pass pro. I don't like that. He doesn't help his guard, or he doesn't realize his guard needs help, which tells me it's low football IQ. And I mean, when he played superior talent, which he does all the time because he's in Maryland, he gets beat easy and he just holds.
All right. What about Ryan Hayes?
Now for Ryan Hayes, let me find him. Here we go. Short arms, 22-year-old senior. I had slow agility, holds when beaten, slow getting outside to counter a speed rush, gives up ground and pass pro, hand placement goes out the window when surprised by defender moves. Cannot keep up with Ohio State edge defensive end players at all. He wasn't fast enough to be effective against an edge D end on a reach play left. So I mean,
That's funny because I have him. He can seal the edge, but I don't. I think it depends on the rush.
Because he struggled on the rusher outside and he's got short arms. He might have a future at guard. I have all of these guys 6th, 7th rounds if drafted at all.
But that's day 3 still.
Yeah,
I just have them.
Didn't care
5th,
for their
6th.
talent.
So,
Wheels, give me a quick breakdown of what you got for these 3 guys. Zion Nelson first.
So Zion Nelson, let me go up to him. Zion Nelson, fast. Obviously, he's fast, long, not beaten off the edge too often. He has played both left and right tackle at times for Miami. Another bends at the waist. He gets high on the blocks on initial contact, and he seems to let off, and that's where he gets in trouble.
Oh, okay.
Because, like you said, he's not aggressive enough.
Yeah.
I think that's what gets him, the where he's not super aggressive.
Yeah.
And then he gets beat on the corner blocks, or the corner rush.
Oh yeah.
It's another speed rush.
And then honestly, I didn't. So Jalen and the kid from Michigan, they're not even in my top 15.
That's Jalen and Ryan Hayes.
I love that.
I like Connor Galvin.
I don't like Connor
That's fine.
Galvin.
That's fine.
Wanya Morris.
So
and
here,
then,
we'll
I like Wanya
so
too.
I'm gonna throw some notable mentions out there. We're gonna try to get through this as fast as we can because we got to move on to tight ends.
Yep.
I'm gonna throw some notable mentions out there. There's about 10 guys here. If there's a stick out for you guys, bring it up when I'm done.
Okay.
One that stands out for you. So I've got 13 Wanya Morris, 14 Connor Galvin, 15 Tyler Steen, 16 Warren McClendon,
I like Warren McClendon.
17 Carter Warren, 18 Luke Haggard, 19 John Ojukwu, 20 Trevor Reed, 21 Earl Bostic Jr., 22 Mark Evans II, 23 Donovan Jennings, 24 Dalton Wagner, and 25 Jordan McFadden. Wheels, do you have anybody here that's a standout for you that you think is going to be drafted? And then for anybody that you think's undrafted, that's a sleeper.
Mark Evans is. They have him being undrafted. I have him 4th round. He is just, the dude's nasty. I don't know if you guys watched some film on him. There's not much game film, but I watched a lot of highlights.
Okay.
And the dude's a beast. I mean, he just gets off the line and just
6'4",
straight
293.
grabs.
That's small.
And he's aggressive.
Well, I think
But he does not play small.
he plays
For
way
the
bigger
size,
than
he plays like a 6'6", 6'7" guy with a
shit.
lot more weight.
All right.
And again, you're in, what is it, the HB, whatever, that's the SWAC.
He's an HBCU.
Yeah, HBCU. I mean, he was a walk-on.
And he won I think he won
He's got
like a player of the year for his conference.
Oh shit! All right.
As an offensive tackle.
Yeah. And he plays for the whistle
I
constantly.
like how I didn't put his name in there.
Yeah.
Good footwork always. He's a great pass blocker.
Are you doing it?
The only thing, the issues I have with him is he has some issues against the straight rush.
Oh, okay.
Like he's good against
a power rush.
power rush,
Ooh.
but speed rush. That's weird though. But speed rush, he can hold his own.
That's goofy.
That's what I'm saying. It's weird. So I
maybe
don't know
that's
if
a
it's
lack of size at
that's-
293.
But you can build that up in NFL, like
Yeah, they can.
like KJ got.
You can't
said.
grow.
They got
You can't grow taller though.
They got drugs.
No, they do
in the
get drugs,
NFL.
and they eat heavy.
a lot of
okay.
protein and carbs, my friend.
All right, so that's your
So,
guy.
I mean, he's a project. I don't want to
Oh,
say he's a
sure.
backup, but he's a fourth round project. Obviously, a team that they fourth round. You're kind of getting. All right, later. I have him later to mid fourth. I mean, I think
He's a 6th, 7th round guy. He's not going to get drafted in the 4th.
I like him a lot.
And it's
All
mainly
right.
because
Watch
he's
him
got-
film on him.
but
I'm
here's the
telling
issue.
you, watch
Have
him
your
film on the
guys.
guy.
But the main issue here is he's coming out of an HBCU, and they don't play a lot of good competition.
Which I understand. I mean, but I
So-
watched him against Oklahoma State,
Oh, love that. Love that.
Okay.
and he played really well
Okay, good.
Against
in
who?
my Oklahoma State.
Right, against who?
I honestly don't know on their defense.
They're
But
going to have better talent than
yeah,
where he's
it's like I said, it's hard to find game film on the guy.
That's,
And
all I'm saying. Is
But from the
who's-
game film I watched, he looks comfortable, but the size is somewhat of an issue. But he doesn't play super small.
Yeah.
No, he plays way bigger.
But
than
his
he actually is,
offensive
but he's
line,
not big at all.
but his guards are
So-
terrible. His guards are terrible. He has no reliability on his inside.
That's because he plays in an HBCU.
Yeah, but I want to see how he does on a solid
I
line.
told you this before the show.
I know, but
Why did he go to an HBCU?
because he didn't get a contract, he didn't get offered.
He didn't get offered anywhere
No,
else.
and he walked
why
on.
is that? But yeah, he's gonna walk on because he's.
I don't know. I mean,
I
again,
don't know.
there's not much I saw that I didn't like. against
I
him. He's
love
a
the kid
prospect.
because I love his football.
Tenacity.
Yeah, thank you. That's a great word. I love his football tenacity. It's a guy that goes out there and plays football to play football.
Yeah,
And
he's got
very
the
good at
heart.
what he does. Yep.
But
So,
I mean, I like him a lot.
Steve,
and
you said you had one guy in that group.
So
that you really
I
liked.
like Warren McClendon. He's actually fourth for me. And
You
I
have Warren McClendon 4th?
Yep, and I have Wanya
Wow.
Morris. He's 10 for me.
How do you have, dude? There's no way Warren McClendon is above Mouch. Come on, I must kick you in the
Above Mouch? Yeah, he played at Georgia. He actually played talent.
shit. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Mouch played fucking air.
All right. So 6'4", 290, 5'2", 640. Arm length 34 inches, which is average. Arm span 80 and 5/8. Hands 10 inches. For me, I have precise handwork, strong against the bull rush, has a solid foundation with the ability to win leverage battles. Another solid pass protector.
Yeah.
Is that what the positives are that you have too?
No, I have some other stuff.
What's your other positive
So
on it?
like his hand placement can be an issue. Right, let's go with cons. Right, his hand placement can be an issue. That can be coached up. It should be coached up.
It's funny because I have precise handwork.
Well, that's why I said can be an issue. Now, I watched Tennessee and Missouri from this year. He didn't have control of his defender, was susceptible to spin move, and his guy ended up making the play. That was bad. He holds when he's beat.
all these guys do.
Well, all of these guys outside of the top 10, I think, have an issue of holding when they're beat.
Yeah.
Instead of continuing the play and going after the guy, they'd rather hold the guy, and I think that's an issue, and I
Yeah.
think that's why they're out of the top 10 personally.
He gave up 2 sacks his entire time at Georgia, right? And that was his sophomore year. That was his first year as a starter.
Unless he left it right.
He's right.
Right, Deco.
He turns his guy well in the run game. That's good. That's big. Plays to the whistle. He attacks early. When he attacks early, he's successful. He's aggressive in the run game. Good footwork. Gets second level with ease, and he moves well when pulling. I like that as a right tackle, big time. Right? That's your run side.
Yeah.
That's historically
That's-
old school football. That's
that's
what it
your
is.
stretch
And if
side.
that's your guy,
RPO side.
that's the
Yeah.
guy you're drafting to be your right tackle. I love it. I love that.
You
pick.
always have. I mean, like you said, always is the better run blocker at tackle. You're going to put at right.
Yeah.
The better pass blocker is going to be left.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a starter. I also think he's going to be a late.
Why do you
second
think the tight ends always set up on the right side?
There you go. He's gonna be late second round. pick.
So, okay.
Early
No. Okay. That's where you have him graded. That's not where he's not going to get. Like, you guys are crazy.
Why?
He's not going to be picked there.
Why?
It's crazy.
Why?
It's crazy.
Why is that crazy?
Because everybody else that's going to go before him, it's a defensive draft.
Okay, that's where he's graded.
That's where you have him graded.
Yeah, that's the point of this.
I agree, but it's crazy.
I like I said, I like Mark Evans. I know you have him late, but I can see him 4th, 5th.
Well, again, Mark Evans, it's the HBCU thing. It's not enough, like you said, there's not a lot of scouts going out there. There's not a lot going on in that area.
But if a team sees what they like, and he's going to be at the combine,
and his
believe
college
he's
sounds
gonna-
like a high school.
I can't remember the name of
Arkansas
I mean,
Pine
we're
Bluff.
about to
Yeah,
talk. We're about to talk
Arkansas,
about
Pine Bluff.
some small name guys and tight ends too.
Yeah, but
right?
that's what I
another
like. I
few,
like talking
another
about
few
these
guys that are out there that Draft Buzz has on their rankings: Dante Bull, Nick Saldiveri, Dylan Wenham, Asim Richards, Cooper Hodgenstank,
Hodgenstank.
Hodgins,
Jordan Reed, and Jarrett Horst.
Ain't-
So
aka nobody.